Okay, this dissertation is about Black is King. From my perspective, as a foundational Black American, you see, as the movie started out, it is seeking identity. It asks the questions, who are you? And as foundational Black Americans, we can ask that question, who are we? And we are made up of many cultures. Just like in the movie, many cultures. Yoruba, from Nigeria, Togo, Benin, the Akan, the Asante from Ghana. Then you see the Dogon mask from Mali, the Dogon people. Then the Mizraim, commonly known as Egyptians. You see all that in that movie, seeking our cultural identity. And then you see the tree of life in the sea of life. That's who we are. Tree of life in the sea of life. We are all of that. Of course, it didn't mention about the Sumerian and Babylonian, which was also Black culture, Black people in those lands before the onslaught of the Caucasians. And as Sumerians, as Afro-Asians, as Sumerians and Babylonians, we move into the other nation, move south, always moving south to get away from the onslaught from the north. And then in the movie Black is King, there is the words, we are more than a speck and more than verses in the Bible. So we have to make those words or verses in the Bible as our identity clear, more than just words, but bring it to life. It's more than just words, but bring it to life, not just reading it and intellectualizing it. So Black and King is a spiritual message. It wasn't made by human endeavor. A spiritual force responsible for that movie Black is King. And you see the green people painting green in the tree of life, surrounded by the sea of life. And it's interesting about we are more than verses in the Bible, which bring us into our identity here in the US. And there were Black people here, but we are not talking about those Black people. We are talking about the people that was brought here. Of course, there were Black people, because in India, the original East Indians was black and deep brown before the onslaught from the north there. And to mistake them for the people here in the US, what was the land now called America, as Indian, mean that they were black or deep brown. And those people in the northern part of India is not the original East Indian. So mistake them, people here, mean that they were black. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about the people that was brought here. As the story goes, in 1619, 23 indentured servants brought here. Now, in 1619, who was the king? Was the same King James who wrote this Bible in this version. I'm not a Mason, but King James wrote the Bible in the Masonic version, or called the King James Version. Now, King James was initiated as a Mason in 1601 in Scotland. In 1604, he commissioned Sir Francis Bacon, another Mason, to write the Bible in the Masonic version or the King James version. Now, Bible means two. Bible means two. So it's two books with two messages, some to Black people and some to Caucasians. I'll get to that later. Now, 7 years later, 1611, it was completed. And then 9 years later, after that, 23 Black people was brought to what is now called America as indentured service. It reminded me of that company called 23andMe. Was brought here. In Jamestown, again associated with King James. King James was the king over the colonies at that time, where Black people were imported here. He wrote the Bible in his version and going to his plan to make an Egypt in the West. So many of the leaders who came over here was Masons also. They was Masons. So Black people did build this country as Egypt and the rest. And it was specifically selected. The 23 was selected. And it was about only half a million Black people brought to these shores in 1619 and until 18 something. Now, Catholic is responsible for the other slavery, like in the Caribbean, Catholic Church, and Mexico, and Brazil, and Latin America. That's Catholic, but the Masonic people and the Jews was responsible for the slavery, and it used to build Egypt. That's where we are, Mizraim, among other people. And now George Washington, who was the most worshipful master of the Lodge of Alexandria. And the Jewish who had his hand in slavery was so influential that George Washington made a visit to their lodge in Rhode Island, a Jewish lodge. And they were instrumental in the enslavement of our people here. And so in 2000, it was the year 6000 AL, the Jewish year, the Masonic year 6000 AL, which was in the year 2000. And then the 400 of our varnish here ended last year. Now, I wanted to make this short, but it looked like I had to go even more further. So I have to take the time and don't end it as short as I wanted to. It will be short, but not as short as I wanted to. Now, last year, the end of the 400 years, so all those years cross, you see. That's why so many strange things are happening in the year 2020. We have been freed. And it's time we have woke up. Now, it's no accident of what happened in the year called the Year of Return, and Ghana becoming instrumental in that. No accident that the leading Black Masonic master in the English lodges, because in the French it's called Orient. It's different. And they control French, what's called Francophone Africa, the Orient. But the English leading black Mason is the former president of Ghana. He's the top black Mason in the world. There's no mistake about the year of return and its success. So the president cannot really take credit for that. He was just following orders. Following orders. So there will be more black people returning to Ghana. That's part of the plan. So there's much more to say, and one thing could lead to another and to another and to another to explain this and that, but I'm going to keep on the topic of Black is King, our identity. It's Yoruba, Akan, the Dogon people, Asante, and Mizraim, most importantly, from what's called Egypt. And our reason for being here in this United States. Of course, like I said, there's so much different information, and one thing could lead to another, but you'll be here for hours to explain everything. But that was just the basic. And 2020 will be even more strange. And something momentous is about to happen. But we are free and we are awoken.